So I want to do a how-to video on how to get your car dialed at the track or wherever you may be driving it. It doesn't matter if it's an off-road car, on-road car, monster truck, 8th scale, nitro or electric. I want to show you how to get that suspension dialed on there. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is camber. So camber is going to be the relation of your wheels to the surface you're driving on. So these wheels to the surface of the track or the pavement or the grass, whatever you may be driving on. So most of the time we use a negative camber setup on any vehicle. Very rarely do you actually use positive camber. So when you're setting up camber, you're always using degrees to set that up. So you're always going to use a negative degree, or it's going to be 0 degrees, or it's going to be positive. And that's how you set up your camber, is you're using degrees to do that. So negative camber is where I'm going to start. That's going to be the relationship of each tire to the ground again, and most of the time we're using negative. So when you have negative camber set up, that means that this wheel here is going to be leaning towards this wheel here, and that's going to be your negative camber. Most of the time that's going to be anywhere from 0 degrees to maybe -3, -4, depending on certain vehicles. So when you set that up, what you're doing is you're setting it up to help your tires wear differently. So when you have a negative camber, it means that you're trying to make your tire wear evenly all the way across. And most of the time you have to put a little negative in there because a lot of the force and a lot of when you're in corners is going to wear on the outside of the tire, or it may wear on the inside of the tire. So when you set up that negative, it's going to wear evenly across the entire tire. So again, most of the time you're only going to add 1 or maybe 2 degrees of negative camber. So how do you adjust this negative camber? Camber is usually adjusted by turning the turnbuckle to shorten or lengthen the upper link on your suspension. So here is the turnbuckle on my car, this gold right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to either lengthen it or tighten it to change that negative camber on here. And then that will give me what I want as far as the relation of my tire wear to the surface I'm driving on. So what you're looking for as far as the best setup for your camber is you want to make sure that when you are done driving that you have even tire wear across the entire tire. So after you've adjusted your camber, what you're going to do is you're going to measure what you've adjusted. So you're going to measure the outside of your wheel facing in or facing out, depending on if you did positive or negative. So what I do is I use a tool. It's called a Camber Gauge. This one's made by RPM. It allows you to adjust to whatever degree you want, and then you keep it there, and then you just simply place it next to that wheel, and then it will tell you how many degrees of negative or positive camber you have. So I'm going to show you that on this buggy real quick. So let's see, set it to -2 is what I run on this car. And once I set it there, it's going to be hard to measure it on this box. So what I do once I set it there, then I can place it here, and if it's even with the flat surface that it's sitting on, and then even against this tire right here, then that lets me know that I'm at -2. So I always have one of these in your pit bag if you ever are looking to get your car a little bit more dialed in for the track or whatever surface you may be driving on, because these camber gauges will really help.